George Strait is not just a renowned country singer, but also a successful farmer in Texas with an impressive cattle ranch. Have you ever wondered what life is like for one of the biggest names in American music on the farm? What secrets does he hold about his rural empire? And how does a famous singer handle cattle farming and the day-to-day life of a million-dollar ranch? Get ready for an immersive experience in this fascinating world. George Strait, the iconic country singer known as the King of Country, has a story that goes far beyond the stage. Born and raised in Texas, his passion for music is just one part of what defines him. What many don't know is that behind his success in the music world lies a large cattle ranch that has become a crucial part of his life and legacy. On his property, which spans thousands of acres, Strait has created one of the largest cattle operations in the state, where he invests just as much time and energy as in his music career. The ranch, besides being a place for cattle farming, is where he practices the values of hard work, dedication, and respect for nature and animals. But how does he balance his life as a country star with the demands of running a million-dollar ranch? Many wonder how someone with such a packed schedule of shows and recordings can manage such a complex business. The answer lies in his dedication, discipline, and, of course, his passion for what he does. George Strait is not just a singer. He is an entrepreneur, a manager, and a lover of life on the farm. His ranch has become a symbol of his identity, and more importantly, a way for him to connect with his roots and Texas culture. On visits to the ranch, fans get the chance to see the singer up close, but also to deeply understand what hard work and the decisions involved in managing a rural property are all about. It's not just about cattle farming, but also about the logistical and economic issues involved in the industry. After all, managing a property like this isn't simple. It involves handling daily operations, caring for animals, preserving the environment, and of course, integrating life on the farm with the entertainment world. But is fame and money enough to ensure success in the field? Or is there something else that George Strait does differently to stay on top, both in music and business? In this video, we'll explore not only George Strait's life as a rancher, but also the valuable lessons we can learn from him about leadership, hard work, and the importance of staying connected to one's roots. George Strait's ranch in Texas is not just a place for cattle farming. It is an example of how the rural world can intertwine with the success of an international career. The property, which spans over 12,000 acres, is a testament to George's commitment to the land and to the tradition of Texan cattle ranching. But how did he turn a rural property into an example of business excellence? The key to his ranch's success lies in balancing efficient business management with a genuine passion for life on the farm. In a state where cattle farming is an essential part of the culture, Strait is dedicated to promoting sustainable practices that not only ensure the health of his herd, but also preserve the land for future generations. His choice of eco-friendly practices and the use of innovative technologies show that it is possible to be financially successful while preserving the environment. Life on the ranch requires much more than just taking care of cattle. Management skills, quick decision-making, and technical knowledge are necessary to handle the everyday issues of the farm. For example, George Strait keeps a highly skilled team to assist with herd management, but he is also directly involved in many decisions at the ranch, from choosing the animals to planning long grazing periods. He believes that being present and actively participating in all stages of the process is crucial to the success of his venture. In addition, the singer uses his visibility in the music world to promote his farm and its values. Through his public image, he shares his passion for life on the farm and raises awareness about the importance of environmental preservation and sustainability in agriculture. This is evident in interviews and even on his social media, where he often posts photos and videos of his ranch, showing the beauty of rural life and the connection to the land. Another interesting aspect of George Strait's ranch is how he integrates his musical life with the demands of the farm. When he is not on tour, the singer spends much of his time on his property, working alongside his team, monitoring the cattle, and managing daily operations. This balance between music and farm work not only keeps him motivated, but also reinforces his identity as a man of the land. The ranch has become a symbol of who he truly is, far from the spotlight of the music industry, and a refuge where he can find peace and satisfaction. George Strait also invests in educating new farmers and ranchers by sponsoring programs that promote agricultural education in Texas. He understands the importance of passing on his knowledge and experiences to future generations, ensuring that the legacy of cattle farming in the state continues to thrive. This ranch is not only a symbol of the success of an artist, but also an example of how passion for the land, coupled with strategic management, can create a prosperous and sustainable business. The way George Strait handles his rural property reflects his commitment to being more than just a famous singer. He is an example of how to balance professional and personal success while staying true to his roots. George Strait's ranch is undoubtedly an extraordinary example of how a businessman from the rural world can integrate his roots with modernity and success. For many, the combination of a high-level music career and managing a rural property might seem like an impossible mission. However, George has managed not only to balance these two lives, but also to thrive in both. The real question here is, how does he do it? What is the secret behind the success of this rural empire? First, we must understand the philosophy that guides George Strait's ranch, an approach that combines tradition and innovation. Cattle farming in Texas has deep roots in the state's history, but George doesn't just stick to traditional methods. He is constantly seeking ways to improve the ranch's operation, adopting modern technologies and advanced management practices to optimize every aspect of the process. One of the innovations the singer implemented was the use of tracking systems to monitor the health and well-being of every animal in the herd. This not only increases operational efficiency, but also ensures that animal welfare standards are strictly adhered to. The use of these technologies has been a huge advantage for the ranch, as it allows George and his team to make informed decisions in a timely manner, ensuring the herd's health and the business's productivity. Moreover, George Strait's ranch is a model of sustainability. He adopts practices aimed at reducing environmental impact, such as the use of renewable energy and grazing management techniques that prevent land degradation. In a state where water resources are limited, George has implemented solutions to optimize water usage and preserve natural sources, a decision that not only benefits the environment, but also contributes to the longevity and prosperity of the ranch. Another important aspect worth highlighting is how George Strait manages his team. In a large-scale rural operation, leadership is a crucial factor for success. George is known to be an approachable and respectful leader who values his employees' opinions and encourages them to make their own decisions. He knows that without a dedicated and well-trained team, his ranch would not operate as effectively as he demands. Mutual trust and teamwork are the pillars that support the success of his operation. The singer also demonstrates his ability to integrate ranch practices with his public image. How he uses his visibility to promote sustainability and responsible agriculture is impressive. He participates in agricultural events, supports fairs and exhibitions, and constantly speaks about the importance of preserving rural traditions, all while promoting responsible agricultural practices. He not only shares his life on the farm with the public, but also educates about the positive impact agriculture can have when managed responsibly. It's clear that life on George Strait's ranch is not without its challenges. Managing a rural empire of such size requires constant attention to economic and environmental changes. However, his ability to adapt to the market's new demands, coupled with his visionary approach and commitment to sustainability, is what makes George Strait's ranch a model to follow. He demonstrates that it's possible to be a leader in the music industry while also being a passionate advocate for agriculture and environmental preservation. In the end, the legacy George Strait leaves with his ranch goes beyond his musical success. He has become an example of how passion for the land and rural culture can drive innovation and success. His story proves that when tradition, forward-thinking vision, and a strong work ethic are combined, it is possible to achieve success on multiple fronts and inspire a new generation of rural entrepreneurs to follow in his footsteps. After exploring George Strait's life on the ranch and understanding the connection between his music career and his rural empire, we can conclude that the singer's success goes beyond the stage. What makes George a true icon is not just his musical talent, but also his forward-thinking vision, his dedication to hard work, and his passion for preserving rural culture. George Strait's cattle ranch is more than just a property. It is an extension of his identity, work ethic, and legacy. Throughout this video, we've discussed how the singer has integrated modern practices into traditional Texan ranching, skillfully balancing his music career and his farming operation. The use of innovative technologies in herd management and the sustainable practices he applies to his ranch are not only a reflection of his concern for the environment, but also of his strategic vision for the future of agriculture. In a state like Texas, where cattle farming is an essential activity, George Strait stands out not only for his fame, but also for the way he manages his property and promotes the preservation of natural resources. Another important point we addressed was the way he manages his team. George Strait's leadership is a model of collaboration, respect, and trust. He knows that the success of his ranch depends directly on the people he works with, and he invests in developing his team, providing a healthy and cooperative work environment. By sharing his knowledge and experiences with other farmers and ranchers, he also contributes to strengthening agriculture in Texas, helping to shape a new generation of rural leaders. George Strait shows us that it is possible to balance both worlds, the bright lights of the stage and the wide open fields of the farm. His ability to manage both his music career and his ranch simultaneously offers valuable lessons on balance, dedication, and passion. He is not just a famous singer, but also a true leader and advocate for responsible farming. In a world increasingly concerned with sustainability, George's story is an example of how we can use our influence to promote positive change. Thus, it is clear that George Strait's cattle ranch is a reflection of his life philosophy, which blends tradition, innovation, and responsibility. He teaches us that success is not only measured by what we achieve in our careers, but also by the way we contribute to the preservation and improvement of the world around us. George is not only a country legend, but also an example of how it is possible to use what we have to make a difference, whether on the stage or on the farm. We've reached the end of this journey through George Strait's ranch, and we hope you've been as inspired as we have. Throughout this video, we've seen how one of the greatest icons in country music is also an example of success in the rural world, showing that it is possible to be a leader, both on stage and in the fields. George teaches us that by balancing tradition with innovation, it's possible to create a lasting legacy in any field of work. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You're a determined person who always seeks to learn and be inspired. Now, we want to know what surprised you most about George Strait's ranch. Comment below and share with us what you found most interesting about rural life and how George blends his music career with his passion for farming. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And don't forget, we have more incredible videos waiting for you. Check out the 2 recommended videos that will appear on the final screen and keep getting inspired by stories of people who, like George Strait, make a difference in their fields. Comment below. I made it to the end. I'm persistent. I'll succeed in life. And show that you too have the power to achieve great accomplishments.